I knew the day was going to be strange the moment. Karen marched across my property line, waving a clipboard like it was a royal decree. But even I wasn't prepared for the words that came out of her mouth, words so dramatic, so absurd. They might as well have been scripted for a reality show. "Your tractor," she yelled, pointing like she'd just uncovered a crime scene, "is illegal machinery. And I'm reporting you." That was the hook. The moment everything started. The sun hadn't even climbed high yet. I was in the middle of hauling feed to the barn, enjoying the quiet morning, when Karen stormed in wearing oversized sunglasses, perfectly ironed clothes, and a look that suggested she had woken up ready for a fight. Behind her, her tiny purse dog barked like it was backing up its owner's outrage. I tried keeping my voice calm. "Karen, it's just a tractor." She gasped like I had insulted her ancestors. "Just a tractor? Just a tractor? That monstrosity violates noise rules, safety rules, neighborhood peace rules, and probably federal guidelines for air pollution. I don't know yet, but don't worry, I will find something." Now, I've dealt with Karen's complaints before. She's reported my cows for standing too close to her fence. She once tried to file a noise complaint against Sunrise. But declaring my tractor illegal? That was a new level of creative chaos. She stepped closer, scribbling something on her clipboard with furious energy. "I've already called the sheriff," she said proudly, like she'd summoned the final boss in a video game. "He's coming to inspect your machine personally." I almost laughed, until I realized she wasn't kidding. The sheriff in our county, Sheriff Dalton, is a good man with patience thicker than steel. But even he sighs when Karen calls. And Karen calls a lot. As if summoned by the tension in the air, I heard a car pulling up. A dust cloud drifted down the gravel road. And there he was, Sheriff Dalton himself, stepping out of his cruiser with a hand on his belt and a look that said, "Lord." "What now?" Karen rushed toward him like she had been waiting for a celebrity. "Sheriff! Thank goodness you're here. This man," she jabbed a finger at me, "is operating illegal machinery in a residential farming area." Sheriff Dalton raised an eyebrow. "Illegal machinery?" Karen lifted her chin dramatically. "Yes, that tractor is a violation. I want it investigated, documented, and removed." The sheriff turned to me slowly, trying not to smile. "Mind if I take a look at this dangerous outlaw tractor of yours?" Sheriff Dalton walked toward my tractor with the steady, measured steps of a man trying very hard not to burst out laughing. Karen followed behind him, practically vibrating with anticipation, like she expected him to slap handcuffs on me the moment he got close. Meanwhile, I stood quietly, leaning against a hay bale, watching this circus unfold with the patience of someone who'd seen Karen pull stunts before but never quite this theatrical. The sheriff circled the tractor slowly, hands clasped behind his back, nodding as if he were appraising a priceless artifact in a museum. Karen hovered beside him, pointing dramatically at random parts. "See that pipe? It's too long! And that wheel, look how wide it is. It could crush a smaller, law-abiding vehicle. And the color. That shade of red is too aggressive." Sheriff Dalton cleared his throat. "Karen, the color red is not regulated by county ordinance." She blinked, thrown off for barely half a second. "Well, it should be." Dalton continued his inspection, running a hand along the hood. "This is a 1984 Massey Ferguson, right?" I nodded. "Restored it myself last year?" Instead of concern, admiration lit up his face. "You did a fine job. Engine looks clean. Tires are new. Even the hydraulics look upgraded." Karen's jaw dropped like a loose gate hinge. "Sheriff, why does it look like you're admiring the contraption?" "This is serious." Dalton turned to her. "Karen, this isn't illegal machinery. It's a farm tractor. On a farm." Karen sputtered. "This neighborhood has standards!" The sheriff gave her a weary smile. "Ma'am, this area is zoned agricultural. Tractors are not only allowed, they're expected." But Karen wasn't ready to accept defeat. She marched to the front of my tractor and slapped her clipboard against the grill. "Sheriff, listen carefully. When he starts this thing, it creates noise that echoes across my meditation room. My meditation room. And when I'm trying to achieve inner peace, this machine shatters my spiritual alignment." Sheriff Dalton turned to me. "Mind firing it up for scientific purposes?" "Sure thing," I said, holding back a grin. I climbed onto the seat, turned the key, and the tractor roared to life, smooth, steady, not even loud for its size. But Karen reacted like she'd been hit with a sonic blast. She slapped her hands over her ears and spun dramatically. "See? See? This is what I've been enduring." Dalton waited until she finished her performance. Then he said calmly, "Karen, that's one of the quietest engines I've heard in years." Her mouth fell open. For a moment everything went silent, except for the gentle purr of my tractor, while Karen stood frozen like a statue that had just discovered it wasn't actually in charge of the museum. Her eyes widened, Her mouth opened and closed, and her little purse dog stared up at her as if even it knew the performance had failed. But Karen never backed down without one last desperate leap into chaos. "Sheriff," she said suddenly, raising her finger. "I have final evidence. The kind you cannot ignore." Dalton rubbed his forehead. "Karen, please tell me this evidence doesn't involve trespassing again." "Of course not," she snapped, then muttered under her breath. "Well, not technically." She reached into her purse and pulled out a flash drive, a tiny glitter-covered flash drive shaped like a unicorn. She held it up triumphantly. "This contains video proof that this tractor is dangerous, disruptive, and a menace to peaceful civilization." The sheriff sighed. "All right, what's on it?" Karen lifted her chin proudly. "Everything you need to shut this operation down." She shot me a smug look. "I hope you enjoyed your last illegal morning." Dalton motioned toward his cruiser. "Let's take a look." We all gathered behind his vehicle while he plugged in the unicorn drive. Karen leaned so close to the screen she could have fogged it up. I stayed back, arms crossed, waiting for the madness to reveal itself. The video began with shaky camera footage, clearly recorded from behind. "Karen's curtains." She whispered dramatically into the microphone. "Here, we observed the suspect engaging in unauthorized tractor activity." Dalton raised an eyebrow at her, but she pretended not to notice. Then the footage shifted to a zoomed-in shot of my tractor slowly, rolling across the field, doing absolutely nothing wrong, just moving hay, just like any other day. But then, suddenly, the camera jolted wildly and Karen screamed in the recording. Something thumped, and the footage spun around before landing sideways. "What was that?" Sheriff Dalton asked. Karen placed a hand over her heart. "Ah, yes. That terrifying moment was when the tractor's vibrations shook the ground so hard that my window frame rattled. It startled me so severely that I lost control of my phone." Dalton watched the clip again, slower this time. Then he said quietly, "Karen, your dog bumped into you. I can see him in the reflection." Karen whipped toward the screen. No, that can't be." But there it was, her dog tail wagging in the reflection while she toppled backward. The sheriff pressed pause. "Karen, this isn't evidence. This is you spying on your neighbor and getting knocked over by your own pet." Her face turned bright red. Karen's jaw dropped like a trapdoor had just opened beneath her feet. She scrambled to defend herself, waving the unicorn flash drive like it could magically rewrite reality. "Sheriff, you don't understand! That tractor is still dangerous. It vibrates the earth. It terrorizes the innocent. Sheriff Dalton held up a hand, the universal signal for enough. "Karen," he said slowly, his voice calm but firm, "your evidence proves nothing about the tractor. It does prove that you filmed your neighbor without permission, and that your dog is more chaotic than any tractor I've ever seen." Karen froze. Her lips quivered. Her purse dog yipped nervously at her side, sensing the shift in power. Dalton stepped toward me, smiling kindly. "As for this tractor, nothing illegal here. In fact, it's well-maintained, quiet, and a perfect example of responsible farming machinery. You're free to operate at any time, anywhere on your property." Relief flooded through me. I had expected complaints, maybe even fines, but a full endorsement from the sheriff? That was beyond my wildest hopes. Karen's face turned a shade of red I didn't think possible outside of sunsets. She opened her mouth, trying to argue, but even she knew she was cornered. The sheriff gave a small shake of his head and turned toward his cruiser. "I suggest you take some time to reconsider how you handle neighborhood disputes." Karen's squeaky protests followed him to the car like echoes in a canyon. "This isn't over!" I couldn't help but chuckle as the sheriff climbed back into his vehicle. "You know," he said, "I actually enjoyed seeing a tractor in such good condition. Most people neglect theirs." I laughed. "Thanks, Sheriff. I guess Karen just wanted to spice up her morning." Dalton shook his head with a grin. "Keep it running, just maybe warn her before the next harvest, so she doesn't have another heart attack." Karen stormed back across my property line, muttering curses about noise ordinances, vibrations, and spiritual alignment. The dog was lagging behind, clearly exhausted from all the theatrics. I leaned on the tractor, taking a deep breath, feeling victorious and slightly entertained. After all, not every day do you get someone calling the sheriff over a tractor, only for it to backfire spectacularly. As Karen disappeared into the distance, plotting her next complaint, I climbed onto the tractor and started it up. The engine hummed a soft, contented growl, the sound of justice, farming, and perfectly legal machinery. And in that moment I realized, some battles are won not with arguments, but with patience, good equipment, and a sheriff who knows how to handle a Karen. If you enjoyed this wild neighbor showdown, don't forget to hit subscribe for more crazy stories. Give this video a like, and drop a comment telling us what you would do if Karen showed up at your property.